I'm going to be keeping it true to the game today, talking about GM styles. And the style I'm going to talk about today is the Antagonistic Game Master. Now, some people are also going to want to call this the Bully Game Master, not to be confused with a Game Master who is in fact bully, but a Game Master who is a bully. And that sort of Game Master is absolutely unacceptable and probably the worst you could play with, other than one who is utterly and totally doesn't know what they're doing. Now, the Antagonistic Game Master basically has some mental issues, and he's using the game to try to subject anyone who is desperate enough to play in his game to torment them. This Game Master is definitely going to kill, maim, damage characters, and if he becomes better at his craft, interject more style in there and so forth, that might not be immediately apparent to sort of drag it along. But basically, the characters are essentially his playthings to be done with as he wishes, and particularly if things out of character happen and you somehow offend or slight this individual who probably has an extraordinarily fragile ego, doing to the nature of this Game Master. I played with one in particular that comes to mind. I played with a few over the years that have slight amounts of this in them, not very many, and I certainly do advise getting out of that sort of person's game. They have some definitely undiagnosed mental issues, or perhaps diagnosed as well, and you don't want to subject yourself to that, because they're definitely going to mess your fun up, because they're essentially there to fun block you, and that is absolutely not the reason you want to be there. You want to contribute and have a good time. And this person wants to make sure that you do not overall. They want to punish you for whatever society or someone else has done to them. One guy comes to mind in particular. His name was Gerald Black, and I played with him when I was 15, when I first found this first game store I ever went to. A buddy of mine from high school said, "Oh yeah, there's a game store down there." I said, "Oh, there is? What's this? Tell me about this. It sounds wonderful." And we went down there, called the Gamers Guild, down on Work Boulevard, Newport News, Virginia. It's long since gone. The guy who owned it had, I don't know if he was a drug dealer or if he just had a serious cocaine problem. The guy's fingernail on his pinky was literally about that long. No hyperbole. It was literally that long. So it was like, that kind of gimmick. And, even my father, who's now 78 and extraordinarily unhip, knew what that was about. And said, don't get you involved with that guy. But the guy who ran it, Scott Tillman, he was actually a cool guy, even though he did cocaine, baby. But the guy I'm talking about here, Gerald Black, I'd only played with him, probably a few dozen different times. He would do essentially anything he could, come up with any way to throw just unrealistic things at you to try to kill your character off. That was how he got off in the game. I remember one time I was playing a wizard, and he would have people start at like 5th level. So I was like a 5th level wizard, and I was like, okay, Gerald, I want to summon a familiar. So he's like, okay. So we go out there, I describe what I'm doing, and I'm out near the woods, and this giant thing looked like a cross between like a shambling mound and a roper from the way he described it. I was like, starts coming out like, he says, like, I don't know, like 2 hours after I did the ritual, and I'm looking at him like, all right, so this is what he was to do for my familiar? Okay. And it was something that was vastly beyond my capability as a 5th level wizard to deal with. The thing rolls up on me and just starts attacking me viciously, because when you summon a familiar, you will pay the price in the form of your character dying. And of course, that character did die. Played with him a few more times. The last time I played with him, this is of course all AD&D 2nd edition, with a 1st edition sort of blend. The red book, I think it's called Complete Humanoids, had come out, and I made a furbolg, and furbolgs had like 15% magic resistance. So like a furbolg fighter with this sword that did like huge damage, and he had some kind of wizard thing fighting me, and he kept attacking me over and over with the thing, and I kept hitting it and just lighting it up with damage. The furbolg swords did like ×2 whatever. I think it was like 46 damage plus this big strength bonus plus a magic bonus. I was just cracking him off for like tremendous damage. He kept trying to throw these spells at me, but I had magic resistance, 15%. That's all it was. And I rolled it 3 times in a row. I hit that 15% or less 3 times in a row, and his character wasn't able to get me. And I'm sitting there like running the numbers in my head at this point. I'm like, how many hit points does this thing have? Because I've done way over 100 points of damage at this point. And he goes, and literally he did that. Fine, it's dead. I went, well, all right then, Gerald. And I just kind of started cracking on him or whatever. And that was the last time I ever played with Gerald. But he was just absolutely a disgrace to the hobby. And I'd like to hear from anyone below if they have played with a sort of bully game master that's essentially just there to not play with you, not to join as a partner with the players to produce a story, but rather essentially just to inflict pain, bruise, and agony on your character, and not have any concern with you other than to essentially play cat and mouse with you and eventually kill your characters off or do other horrendous things to them. If anyone has played with this kind of game master, please either feel free to put a video response below or leave some comments. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Or if you are this kind of game master, please defend yourself if there's any possible defense that you could come up with. So I would like to hear your thoughts.